has home ice, taking on the defending champion Florida Panthers. Women's College World Series today. Texas can advance with a win over Tennessee, while Texas Tech can eliminate defending champion Oklahoma. College baseball regional action. Elimination games on the schedule today. Number 5 North Carolina takes on Oklahoma. Number 10 Ole Miss against Murray State. Number 14 Tennessee battles Wake Forest. Little Rock squares off with number 6 LSU. USC takes on number 8 Oregon State. Number 16 Southern Miss against Miami. Number 15 UCLA battles UC Irvine. Defending champion and top seed Vanderbilt, second seed Texas, both eliminated from regionals. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
You don't have to sink a 30-footer from the end of your driveway to come out of the NBA playoffs smelling like a rose. SportsGrid brings you all the angles, insights, and odds.
And more to make you a winner.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the two best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, listen, I don't know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, SiriusXM Channel 159.
Oh, the best hour of your day. It's officially underway. Now it is Moneyline. It's the SportsGrid Network at SiriusXM Channel 159. Your boy Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Now, Kevin's been off for, I think, 2 weeks on the network. Welcome him back to Moneyline.
What are you talking
today,
about,
Kev.
pal?
How do you feel? We haven't seen you in weeks.
Show,
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know if it can be proven.
I worked this show as much as you did last week with this nonsense out on assignment stuff. It's not even really starting to track anymore. People got questions.
I'll tell you, a lot of people had smiles on their face at the bagel joint, man. I'm the hit when I go in there. That's my place. I feel comfortable. I feel at home. They know my order every single time. Hot and ready. Delicious bagels, Kevin.
Way in or way out?
On the ride home. Way out. Come in the morning, pick them up before the show, wrap them up in the bag. By the time I get back in the car, like 11:05 Eastern, drive home. Now, see, here's the key, though, Kevin. Like, my window opens up at certain times. So I try to delay, even though I'm craving that bagel, to at least I get to the turnpike, which is about like 35 minutes in. Then I start to eat the bagels. Then I pick up my food. Then I go home and finish my food, and away we go. But I'm telling you right now, I might work in Homedale just so I can go to that bagel shop. It's the best bagels I've ever had in my entire life. Thank goodness I found that place. Because there is a story behind it as well, people. Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's fun. I would go to that bagel place sometimes.
Oh, love it.
But the fact that that's like the best bagel shop you've ever been to, man, you got to let me get you a Queen's bagel.
No, I'm saying Queen's bagel. It's probably hard, a little stale. You know what I mean? Come on now.
No,
can't get any. There's no way I can have a better bagel in this place. I don't think it's possible. I don't.
No, it's here's the deal. As someone who's made this move, it's very clear to me. Bagels, huge gap, New York's direction. Pizza, bigger gap, New York's direction. Ice cream shops, though, Jersey's got that on lock. At least where I was in New York, we're really relying on the chains,
like Mr.
more
Salty,
so, right?
Up in New York,
Well, yeah, but like a Carvel, a Baskin Robbins type of situation.
No. Yeah,
like no, but now those places deliver. Let's not be crazy, but out here you get Nicholas's Creamery, Point Creamery.
Yep.
Whatever.
Gelato
There's another
places.
one that we went to. Like there's a lot of local spots that really
good job.
yeah, do a good job is right.
Now, when people hear, Kevin, there's a story behind some things. And this is good because we're in the first month of June here. We are so close to football season. You could taste it. But we're now getting into those days, which I'm going to explain a little bit of the early line today. Before I get out of whack, though, there's a reason why your boy DRS was like, you know what? I got to find my own bagel shop up there. Because usually I'm just, I'm driving in. I might have my little pineapple juice with me and maybe a snack for like the ride home. But it started to turn out like, Joe Lisi, God bless him. Very generous guy with his time, very generous guy, always looking out for people. So he'll usually bring in like breakfast in the morning for the PFT crew, probably does the same thing for the CFT crew. Sometimes we breakfast sandwiches, this or that, but he used to always get bagels. And if anybody doesn't remember this story where I was awesome, I didn't bring anything in, but Joe's got bagels there. Let me take one or two for the ride home. And usually start out, Kevin, as I would just eat one on the ride home, then get home and eat while I watch the halftime show, just getting into the third quarter of the NFL games. But there was that 1 week, man, where he bought bagels from I'm not going to even name places because it's not fair to those places. But the bagel was so bad that I was so disappointed and so angry by it. I made it a choice to say there has to be bagel shops that are really good in the area around where we work in Bellworks. So, and then Kevin's like, well, yeah, right across the street from said place, there is a bagel shop. So I go, why are you just going to a real bagel shop, Joe? Well, because the one place has the chicken salad I like, which is ridiculous, which the place with the good bagel spot does have chicken salad there. For some reason, Joe doesn't trust to pick the chicken salad anywhere else but this one place. Yeah. But the bagel was so bad. And the best part about this bad bagel story was it wasn't like you're going to broadcast it. But the next week, it's like, hey, look, I got my own bag. Where's a good bagel shop? There's a bagel shop where you were saying right across the street, Joe. I don't know about that. It's you know what? I'm going to go that route and just check it out. So I went in, got delicious bagels, had fun. Ate them on the ride home. But how we got there, Kevin, was the next week, he's like, yeah, man, something was up with this. Did you have a bagel? I said, yeah, I did. It was the worst bagel I've ever eaten in my life. So that's how it started, the whole downward spiral of, Joe, you're getting these bagels that I appreciate it, but now I'm holding it against you for you bringing in bagels that are so bad that nobody can enjoy them. It was almost like the tide turned on them.
Well, and here's the thing. You gotta understand, listen, no matter what you might think of Donnie and I, we were raised correctly, okay? Joe's bringing in bagels. That's not going to be an all-out attack. Nobody's going to, in the front of him, pick it up, be like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Look, I've seen a producer, ready, one time, he comes in with the breakfast sandwiches on the Saturdays, right?
Yes. Yep.
And one producer comes in, starts flipping them over, and rips a, no bacon? Which was pretty good.
Oh,
right?
That's a good one. Yes.
But now that's not what Donnie and I were doing. Donnie and I essentially convened in our own time.
Yes.
And once we realized it was okay, so something was really up here. We had a third source kind of confirm us. They were in all caps, there was something wrong with those bagels. And I think we were really looking out for him because, we just didn't want him to have to keep attacking the wrong bagels, man.
But here's the best part about it, though, was because people if you're just a regular, I'm not a regular eater, so people know. But if you're a regular eater, just a bad bagel, what are you going to do? I'll be home in a couple of minutes. But when you open the 23-hour fast window after waking up that morning at 5 a.m., driving an hour and 30 to 40 minutes into the studio, doing a 3-hour studio show, the first chance you get to eat is man, this is going to be good. I got a bagel for the ride home. Let me just enjoy nibbling on that until I get home. And I remember leaving the parking lot. And again, it's 1:05, right? So I'm starving at this point. It's over 24 hours that I haven't eaten. And I took 2 bites and I have to choke this thing down. I almost wanted to pull over to a pizza shop and just eat right on the spot. I was so angry at that bagel this one day, but it brought me again to another bagel shop that is just the most delightful place in the world. In and out, and absolute donut-sized bagels, bakery donut-sized. Unbelievable, man. So Lisa,
but aren't you eating those things dry?
Bagels. Yes, that's how Kevin. That's how good they are. That's how good they're. When I'm at home, let's just say, because I usually get I don't eat all 6, obviously, but I go and I get 6 of them. It's 3 plain and 3 cinnamon bagels. So, cinnamon raisin bagels, which are delicious. Now, if I'm at home, I'm going to put maybe some jelly on there. I'm probably going to go for the cream cheese. But when I'm just driving, they're so good, Kevin. I don't need to do anything with that bagel on the ride home and eat it. I'm getting it. It almost tastes like they're donuts to me. They are that good.
But by the time you get home, you've had your serving, or do you like?
Yes. No.
All right,
done.
let me have one more with the.
No, here's the problem though, Kevin. Like the ride home turned into like I would eat like one Joe Lisi bagel, which again they weren't giant ones, but now it's turned into I get 6, and like for the first week I'm like, let me have the one. Like, oh, that was really good. Then I say, let me dip it. Let me get 1.5. Kevin, I'm up to 3 bagels on the ride home now. All 3
and
out of the 6.
And you're done. Are you done now? Like for like you get home and you're done eating for the day?
No. I'll get home and I'll stop by like Panda and get like a bigger plate of orange chicken and rice, and then I'll have my Mr. Good Bar and all that
what
stuff.
Is it?
There's a lot of eating going on. It's not bulking season, but just like I can't stop the bagel. I can't go in there and put it this way. I can't go in there like even for me, like I can't go in there and order 3 bagels. I think I'm just like a loser. Like I can't go in there and order 1 bagel. That's even worse. So I got to go in there with the 6-pack, looking like at least like somebody else is going to be with me on these, if you will. So I get 6. I usually have 3 bagels, no doubt about it, on the ride home. But sometimes it's 2 of the cinnamon raisin, 1 of the plain. Sometimes it's like 2.5 of the cinnamon raisin, 1/2 of the plain. Like I think I could knock down like all 6, but I do still want to eat like lunch. But you're right. Like when I get, it's almost like it ruins everything I'm about, but I can't help it. The damn bagels are so good that I end up eating a ton when I go up north. So it's the way it is. More of that talk next. It's June, people. Get ready.
Boys of summer have returned and taken the field for the great American pastime.
You should monetize that.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. This update brought to you by Wendy's. The Trump administration is sending 3 cabinet members to Alaska as it pursues oil drilling in the pristine Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and reinvigorating a natural gas project that has languished for years. The visit by Department of Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, Energy Secretary Chris Wright, and Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin comes after Trump signed an executive order earlier this year aimed at boosting oil and gas drilling, mining, and logging in Alaska. Facing allegations of a conflict of interest, Orleans Parish District Attorney Jason Williams removed himself from a Louisiana Attorney General-led investigation into the massive jailbreak that saw 10 men escape a New Orleans jail earlier this month. Governor Jeff Landry ordered an investigation into the jailbreak several days after the inmates escaped May 16th. Williams had initially described the inquiry as a joint effort with the Attorney General Liz Murrill and toured the jail with her as part of the probe. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
When you partner with CDW, your people get more out of technology. CDW AI architects deliver Microsoft services to automate tasks and boost productivity, helping sales reps connect with more customers. Remote teams collaborate seamlessly, and small businesses compete at scale. That's amazing. Make amazing happen. Microsoft and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/modernwork.
You don't have to sink a 30-footer from the end of your driveway to come out of the NBA playoffs smelling like a rose. SportsGrid brings you all the angles, insights, and odds.
And more to make you a winner.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
By the way, chat box always firing as usual. Aaron's out there, Kristen is out there, Darren's out there, AOD, and also Steve Engblom. But the reason I was sort of thought I was done like talking about bagels and stuff, which he brings up a great point. And here's how I'm going to explain it, though. He's like, just put the bagels in the trunk, DRS. So I was like, what does that even mean? Oh, okay. Because I was saying, like, I buy 6, like, I want to eat all 6, and it started out as 1, and it's now, like, turned into 3. Yeah. But here's the problem. Like, they're on my driver's side, right? So I do have now some, like, it used to be like, man, once I get in the car. Now, understand this too, Kevin. Like, when I do the early line, like, I'm still up earlier, it's the same amount of time, but I'm in my car by 11:05. Like, the NFL show, I'm in my car by 1:05. Like, that's a 2-hour difference, technically, from when I ate the day before, since I fast. Mm-hmm. So it's crazier. Like, now I'm trying, like, all right, I don't want to eat the first bagel like the minute I get in my car, because then my window is like 11:05, but I won't get home till like 12:45. And then by the time I eat, it's 1 o'clock, which again isn't devastating, but I like to try to keep it like in some sort of like an hour and a half maximum, like eating window that I have. But here's the issue now. The 1 bagel turned into 2, turned into 3 because they're so damn good. But I have I close the bag all the time, but I'm so used to 3 now. I don't think I can ever get home without eating more than 3, or like less than 3. Like 3 is like the benchmark now for me. Like I don't have any. I can't take one, put it in the trunk. I'd pull over on the turnpike and go get another bagel. That's what I would do.
I feel like once every 6 weeks, your diet comes up at Bellworks, with everyone just being like, "Yeah, there's no way that's the right approach." No one believes in it. Like I know you swear by it.
I don't get sick.
But do you even hear the things you're saying? Yeah, are you still looking to lose weight? Like,
no, I'm looking to maintain it. Like that's what I'm doing. Like I'm actually up like 2 pounds from like 2 weeks ago, which I'm very upset with right now.
Oh no! Oh, well, stop eating 6 bagels.
No, so I'm eating like 16. I'm up to like last like 18,000 steps. Like I've really hit in the turbo the last like 5 days walking the dog. They're even where they're hiding from me right now in the house. The dog's like, man, I hope this man don't come up and with this chain again, because I don't feel like going out anymore.
So how about yesterday was the pool opening ceremony here?
Oh wow!
So mom, dad, and one of my brothers came up. So, of course, the fiance, the 5 of us, were all trying to attack it.
Yes.
Now, one of the rare days where I kind of embraced that I needed to actually do something, so I was even starting to do some stuff before they got here. So I'm probably starting, contributing to the workload at like 9:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
And we probably didn't finish everything until like 7 at night. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I was on my feet the entire time.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking, I probably should have to pay my dad a shifts for all the stuff he was doing.
True.
My brother snuck off for about a 3.5 hour nap.
Now was it union rate, or do we get these like off the books? I mean, what type of rates are we talking about there in the Walsh household?
I quite frankly, whatever
Paid
he
in
wants
food?
would be worth it beyond belief. But I'm
now, what
telling
did you do,
Donnie,
though?
So we
everything?
opened
Like you took the top off?
was everything.
Okay.
So the pool got opened, right? Which I know is just like, it's taking a cover off. The ladder's kind of big, so we had to figure out getting the ladder in, which ended up taking more time than we would have thought. We have we got like a deck box, which you kind of use to put all your like outdoor cushions in, things like that. So that had to get built.
Yep.
From and that was a whole thing. And then we had new deck furniture, like a set of table, chairs, like a couch that all had to get carried up from the garage up to the deck.
Yes.
So it was a good amount of stuff kind of that was going on. Now, again, it was one of those things like you take your breaks where you can, and trust me, I know how to find my breaks. So I'm sitting down plenty, but I am I am not a physical labor guy. Like, and I know that about myself.
Yeah.
Like it's 7 o'clock. Like we're sitting down, we barbecued, right? So we're just all sitting there eating. I'm just looking at my dad. I'm like, I don't understand how you do this, man. Like, I'm exhausted. I can't move. I'm so tired. It's just like, this was his off day. Like it's just, I'm not cut for it, Donnie. I'm really not.
You're not going to be moving the Steinways in and out, the pianos in and out, like pushing stuff around. Can't be doing that there, man. By the way, for me, like I'm very selfish. Like if I need to get something done around my house, I need help for. I love that. But I always remember like the days. Like my dad always liked to do like his own landscaping, if you will. Like forget cutting the grass.
Okay.
And I didn't live with my dad growing up, but it'd be like, all right, need you this Saturday because like the 6 yards of mulch are getting dropped off. I'm like, I go to my dad's. You know what I mean? We'll probably have a good lunch. And I'm telling you, 5 minutes in, I don't want to be there anymore. Like I'm like, we're doing this all day long. Like, hopefully I can just make it to lunch at this point. But like the first barrel worth, I'm like, manual labor has got to be the toughest thing in the world. Like if you're like an iron worker or like you lay concrete for a living, like I know you're getting paid for it and that's your job, but it's like, man, is this monotonous, and shoot, there's so many things I could be doing right now.
It's just, if you're not used to being on your feet all day and then you spend listen, you can ask anyone. I don't, hide from any of this stuff. every year, by the end of the first day when we go to the Super Bowl, I am miserable. He has yet to fail. Every single time we go out there. Well, I'm telling you. Well, yeah, usually the first thing you do is arrive and something annoying happens, usually. That's usually the 1-2 combination. But every single year, there's a level of walking that gets slapped at, our direction that just does not translate.
And people promote the walking around here, too. Like, hey, just walk there. You know what I mean? A lot of people are doing that work.
It really bothers me. I'll be honest with you. Here's the thing. This year, I was better. I was better about the whole thing. But also, this year, I operated a lot more on a Donnie style approach. I was like, I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, I'll go eat with you, Joe. But no, I'm not going there. I know it's 10:30, and now you're going to go explore New Orleans. I don't want to explore New Orleans. I'm going to bed, man. All right? I had the Pedialyte in the room every day. I was waking up. I was having a little... Again, because I'm not insane, I would buy food to keep in the room so I could get a little bite in my stomach before we went instead of complaining all day. At least he was doing 25,000 steps a day. Wasn't even leaving the convention center.
I mean, guy booking himself in and out of bookings at that point here. More, by the way, San Francisco this year. Oh, man. I'll tell you something over the break. People won't like that.
SportsGrid.
Stamping out the boredom in baseball year after year. We bring you all the angles, insights, and information you need. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1942 Red Sox star outfielder Ted Williams enlists as a U.S. Navy aviator. Williams lost close to 5 prime years to his major league career. Despite that, the splendid splinter hit 521 career home runs. Williams also had a .344 career average and drove in over 1,800 runs. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
A new MIT ping pong robot plays with power and uncanny accuracy.
Try and handle this.
High-speed cameras and predictive trajectory computer hardware control a multi-jointed lightning-fast robot arm attached to one end of the ping pong table, precisely executing loops, drives, or chops. Intended to be used as a ping pong training aid, the ultimate goal, improving the speed and agility of humanoid search and rescue robots.
But that's not going to save you from my notebook backhand smash.
Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Football Full Circle.
How about the Stephon Diggs video? He's on a party boat with a bunch of bikini-clad women. I mean, if that's his biggest crime, I think we all would be signing up for that crime, right? Who cares? It's the NFL. It's the off-season. If you don't think these guys are partying and having fun in the off-season, you're just living in a bag the size of that bag that he had.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Scott Wetzel. Weekdays, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. In baseball, a batter gets 3 strikes. In sports gaming,
you get 1.
No do-overs.
You need all the help you can get. And that's what you get with us, your trusted source for gaming odds and more. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
How do we handle June? That's a question I want to ask Kevin, because us in the sports industry, like the evolution of your year, there's no time you really struggle because it's our job and it's what you do. And if we have to do a 3-hour show in the morning like I do, we do it every single day. We do a good job. We have some fun and we keep it moving. But I find it always interesting where it's like once we get to like September the 1st, if you will, September the 1st all the way through probably, Kevin, like I don't even just want to say football season like ends at the Super Bowl, because then you're right in the mix of March Madness where you're trying to get involved in, and the NBA is, really ramping up toward the end of their season. But now's the time in like June where it's like, boy, we're really used to having major sports in our life, which baseball every day is a saving grace. I get that. It's not everybody's cup of tea. And quite frankly, it's not all that exciting because of how many games they play. Oh, my God, did you see the game yesterday? And everybody's betting on the same game like you would in the NFL. But now we're in the NBA, Kevin, a maximum of 7 games left. The NHL, a maximum of 7 games left. Then it's that sort of abyss. But I feel like we're already in that. And even as like the sports handicapper / sports fanatic, like yesterday, and yeah, the Yankees run against the Dodgers. Tuned in for a little bit, but this is a World Series preview. It could be. But I found myself like, man, this is like, feels like no sports. And you wake up today, it's like, okay, new week, let's get together. We don't have an NBA game till Thursday. We don't have an NHL game till Wednesday. Now, granted, again, baseball plays, the WNBA, there's other things, but I feel like right now it just hit me this morning. We are in that sports like cavern where it's like, well, I don't know where the sun is right now. I could see a glimmer over there, but I feel like we're just getting into that now on June the 1st, June the 2nd.
I don't feel it right now. I don't know. Maybe that'll happen.
Hit me this morning
but
on the show. Yeah.
So I have, this is the first show I'm doing. We spent the first 2 segments talking flights and bagels. So like, plus this whole thing, this show always flies. I'll see how I feel tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Doing the 2 shows without, the postseason. But I was really interested in Yankees Dodgers this weekend. I thought it was a fascinating series where you get LA booked as a home dog in the first 2 games of the series. The second game, they win, 1-2. Aaron Judge and Ohtani each homering in the first inning of the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Judge goes deep twice in game number 2. Incredibly, Judge doesn't get a hit in game 3. The Yanks win that game because they jumped all over Yamamoto, their biggest dog price of the series. So dogs went 3-0 in the series overall. I was really interested in it. I was. And I feel like right now baseball's got more going on, in my eyes, in June than I feel like I'm maybe used to. I know, everyone's interest in the W varies. I'm interested. So I feel fine right now. I really do. Again, we'll see if it's like Thursday or, if it's like Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. New segment. I'm taking a nap. But I don't think that's going to happen.
But it's funny because, again, the evolution of like what we do, like I have a 3-hour morning show. And it's like, all right, we're going to talk a whole hour number 1 on, what happened on Saturday night, because that was our last NBA game. It's like, we won't even bring up that Saturday game as opposed to like a bye clip. Oh yeah. Knicks won Saturday night, but let's get to the games. Like we're already in that like rehash mode. And that's why I was like, you know what? Like I love the Pacers in game number 6. Put a small bet on the Pacers. Not a lot of money, but I was like, you know what? I think they're going to win. And I found myself like in the first quarter going, you know what? If I lose this money, would it be the worst thing? We get a game 7 on Monday. You can hype yourself up. The Knicks in the Garden will be on fire. And end up easily at the Pacers like wipe them away. But it's just like, because I know how it starts. Like, okay, Monday, you're still energized. Tuesday, it's like, all right, game number 1 Thursday. And then Wednesday, all right, game number 1 tomorrow night. It's almost like an NFL season without like the extracurriculars around. It's like, all right, we're waiting for this game. And heaven forbid, if we get a bad NBA Finals, it's like, hey, OKC smokes the Pacers game 1 and game 2. Who's even listening for games 3 and game 4?
That is my worry. My worry is what I think by any reasonable human being's bar, an incredibly successful and intriguing first 3 rounds of the playoffs. We end up getting a not very competitive finals. And people go, oh, the NBA ruined my life. Worst sport ever. Because here's the thing, right? Donnie, over under, 1.5 games, OKC wins by 20 plus. It's easily over 1.5, right? Like, that's just who they are. So, 2 of these games basically already start as blowouts. That's not ideal.
No, and we talked about it this morning. I was like, boy, we can't have 2 double-digit wins out of the gate by OKC to start this series. You need a shot. Like, you need to, jumpstart the public. Like, Pacers outright game number 1. We're here to stay. Now the big dog's got to fight to get back in that series. Like, that's what we need here. Also, I want to ask Kevin this question. How much is enough on an MVP race?
The NBA playoffs.
It all comes down to this.
And we'll give you all the angles to make sure you win a little something something. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. College baseball regional action. Elimination games on the schedule today. Number 5 North Carolina takes on Oklahoma. Number 10 Ole Miss against Murray State. Number 14 Tennessee battles Wake Forest. Little Rock squares off with number 6 LSU. USC takes on number 8 Oregon State. Number 16 Southern Miss against Miami. Number 15 UCLA battles UC Irvine. Defending champion and top seed Vanderbilt, second seed Texas, both eliminated from regionals. The NBA Finals start this Thursday with the Thunder battling the Pacers, Game 1 in Oklahoma City. The Stanley Cup Finals start on Wednesday. Edmonton has home ice, taking on the defending champion Florida Panthers. Women's College World Series today. Texas can advance with a win over Tennessee, while Texas Tech can eliminate defending champion Oklahoma. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Let's keep it real.
Baseball can be boring.
That's where SportsGrid comes in.
Nothing livens up those 9 innings like sports gaming. You might experience something you've never felt in a baseball game, a quickened pulse. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Bing bong! No more of that. We're the Sideball guys out there this weekend in New York City. You know, Spider Cuz and all the boys getting busy, or, you know, just a simple whimper off into the night. Because JY was on today and I asked him, I was like, as a Knicks fan, like, is it happiness? Is it we had a good season, or is it no, this was our chance? But I don't sense the animosity, Kevin, from the Knicks fans and like Knicks Twitter, like this is the worst thing of all time. Kill me now. This is our chance. It almost feels like they're like, yeah, you know what? We made the Eastern Conference Finals and it was fun for a little bit, and we'll see what happens next year, which I'm kind of surprised at, to be
honest. You're surprised that he was positive on it?
Yeah, like I'm surprised like Knicks fans aren't like up in arms, like you got to fire Tibbs, Brunson, you tiny little point guard, you're never going to work out. We can't beat the Pacers to get to the NBA Finals. Like we're never going to get there. But I'm not getting a sense of that. I'm thinking it's like, hey, run it back. Tibbs was good. We got the Eastern Conference Finals, and away we go. Like I'm getting the softer side of the New York fans. I'm feeling.
Yeah, I think it depends who you talk to. It's weird because making the conference finals for them, all in all, is an achievement, and it was year one for this kind of core together. So you want to leave it feeling good. The problem is they were favorites to the Pacers. They dropped the first 2 games at Madison Square Garden, and they were eliminated by this Pacers team for consecutive seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Favored in both seasons. Again, home court advantage in both seasons. So that's what makes it difficult. I think what's very tough for some of the Knicks fans, it all depends again who you are. And I think any fan can relate to this. It's the idea is like, listen, I can pick on my brother, but you can't pick on my brother. Like, I think Knicks fans want to be able to openly talk about Cat's defense and Tibbs' decisions, but I also don't think that Knicks fans like the pile on that's coming from the outsiders, pretending that the Knicks season and the Nets had a better year than the Knicks, right? Like we're getting that all over Twitter today because of the draft haul. And it's like, enough, man. Like, congrats. Brooklyn has 14 picks. Who's going there? What does this matter? Like, let's, we got to, try and be a little realistic with it all. I think, again, the big thing with the Knicks is the fact that they kind of threw Cat under the bus as soon as the season ended. And that complicates things this offseason.
Mm-hmm. Foul, man. It's a foul, Kevin. Give me your cat impression. Can you give me one? What do you got?
No, I
Why?
can't.
Yes, you
I
can.
just don't think I have it in me. I don't have it in me.
Come on now.
I really like the photo of Tatum driving by him for the layup. I thought that was good.
Pretty good.
I thought that was funny. I thought that was a good time.
Yeah, big cat. Come on, man. Big cat out there on defense. I mean, get it together out there. But from the Knicks' perspective.
Wait, you know what? I have something for you.
Go.
There was one thing that I thought it was really Knicks fans were complaining about that I thought was a little silly. But I actually have no clue where you'll land on this. Knicks fans were bothered with essentially Reggie Miller being on the call. Reggie Miller showed up to Game 6 wearing all black like all the Pacers did. Reggie Miller went out there for the Eastern Conference trophy ceremony with the Pacers, despite being a broadcaster. For me, I think that's crazy. I do not know why anybody would possibly expect anything else. The Pacers don't have this massive, rich history. Reggie is one of, if not the most famous Pacers of all time. And his entire legacy is tied to a rivalry with the Knicks. And they just got back to the finals for the first time since Reggie Miller beat the Knicks to get to the finals. And people were like, "Oh, he's so biased." It's like, yeah, Reggie would have wore the Pacers jersey if they let him. I can't believe people were up in arms about that.
Yeah, I actually thought like the Knicks, because again, they lost, so it sort of like rubs it in, but it's sort of that fun rivalry. Like, oh, I got to hear Reggie on the call tonight. Like, I can't wait till the Knicks do something good. I'm like, yeah, Reggie's probably pissed right now at this point. But also understand this. It still is a business. Like, Stephen A. works for ESPN, but he's a big Knicks fan. Was he supposed to be like, well, you know what? I'm a Knicks fan. I'm going to recuse myself for the next 3 weeks while they're in the playoffs. Like, no, he works there. Same thing with Reggie Miller. Like, they didn't just pull out like, hey, John Starks, be the play-by-play guy for the Knicks game tonight, and while listening, like, wait a second. Like, this is like, you're just putting a guy that doesn't work in the business as a fan and as a Knicks player saying, just let him call. Like, no, Reggie does that. And that's where the added fun. But I don't have any issues with it. Like, I would watch and let you say, oh, Jason Witten is calling this game, or Tony Romo is calling an Eagles game against the Cowboys. That's his job. It's what he does. So it comes with the territory at that point. If he like, hey, special contributor Reggie Miller to the Knicks telecast, like, well, wait a second, you're just doing this on purpose to get people riled up. But that's his job, and he is going to be biased. I mean, the guy, come on now, stop.
Like, his whole life is the Indiana Pacers and the rivalry with the Knicks. Like, it's
his whole life.
Like, I don't know if he would have went out to the trophy ceremony. It feels like people are like, Reggie's biased. He hates the Knicks. And it's like, Reggie be like, yep, please put, yes. What are you talking about? Like, I don't understand.
I do hate
you. Was he supposed to recuse himself from the broadcast and be like, no, like, please bring in Chris Webber and let him do it. Like, it's all good. I don't know.
Webb Coke.
I can't believe, I don't know. It'd be different if like Brady called a Super Bowl and the Pats were in it. And it's like, during the Super Bowl, you probably shouldn't be like outwardly cheering for a football team if you were on the broadcast. But like, I don't know, like, it's all Knicks Pacers. Like, it's all part of the rivalry. I couldn't believe that that's something, for all the complaints, I thought that
would have added to the fun. Exactly. Because you knew it was getting all the Pacers there, Reggie's there in the Garden. I own this place. Then you had the choke moment in game number 1, and Halliburton showing the choke sign to the crowd, and it was only a 2 instead of a 3. Then they beat you in overtime. Crazy series overall. But again, that's done, and we got to wait till Thursday till we get game number 1, which is a 9-point favorite for OKC already. We'll see where that ends up and winds up. But I did tease something going into the break, Kevin, on the MVP. Do you remember us talking about the Cy Young Award in baseball when Jacob deGrom was like, I'm going to go out every single game and throw a perfect game / no-hitter / maybe I give up 1 hit, maybe 1 run if you're lucky. And we were like, you know what? He's 10-1 or whatever the heck he was. Midway through the summer, he gets injured. He's like, you know what? I'd still bet him to win the Cy Young because he's that good, even if he doesn't pitch again. Yeah, he dropped like a rock within like a week. He wasn't even like, there wasn't even like odds. You get like 175 million to 1. It's like, yeah, he has no chance to win this. The reason I bring it up is Aaron Judge is by far the best player in the American League right now. There's no question in my mind. We played 1 week of March, 1 full month of April, 1 full month of May, which means you have June, July, August, and September. That's 4 months left to go in the regular season. He's minus 20,000 to win the MVP. And this wasn't a steady build, Kevin. It's like, okay, every week we'll just move him minus 500 higher. Like, he was minus 1,000 last week when Ben and I were in the studio. clicked over during that show to 3,000, up to 6,000, and now up to 20,000. So when I asked this, like, well, do you think he's going to win it? Yes, I do. But what is the point of taking Aaron Judge where the book is telling you we don't want any more bets on this guy? And if you want to give us money, that's fine, because if he does, I guess, break his ankle, he can't win it, which again is you can get injured. Like minus 20,000 was like Cam Ward in the draft. It's like, well, yeah, as long as he, God forbid, doesn't pass away in the final 36 hours, he's the number one pick in the NFL where I'm going with this. Like Aaron Judge has 4 months left of baseball, Kevin. If he pulls a hamstring, he won't win the MVP. Like, what are we doing here?
So here's the interesting thing, Donnie. If he pulled a hamstring, he'd still win the award.
Even if it's 3.5, 4 weeks?
Yeah, he could miss a month and still win the MVP.
Wow.
That's how big the gap is right now.
I don't know.
I think he could. Donnie, I think he might be able to be terrible for the rest of the season and win the award with the lead that he has right now. Here's my look. I also think that they do that too, so people don't even like, hey, tack it onto your parlay. It does nothing for you.
Yes.
You know, it's all that. Here's my only thing with the Judge number. There is not a single player in the American League that looks even remotely in the mix. Like, the entire process is like,
find me somebody else who beats him.
But Don, it's like, hey, he gets injured. Who are we betting? I have no idea.
Trout?
There we go.
Cal Raleigh,
we've been doing it a
baby.
long time.
The big dumper out there busting it away. Exactly. Or you can always just go back to Vladimir Guerrero. He's like the Clinton Portis of, I don't know who to draft in fantasy football. Just say Clinton Portis. That's what you say about Vladdy Guerrero. We will be back, people. It's a Monday, right here on the SportsGrid Network.
By the end, you might not have a ring on your finger. Stay tuned and you'll have a little something in your pocket. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Women's College World Series today. Texas can advance with a win over Tennessee, while Texas Tech can eliminate defending champion Oklahoma. College baseball regional action. Elimination games on the schedule today. Number 5 North Carolina takes on Oklahoma. Number 10 Ole Miss against Murray State. Number 14 Tennessee battles Wake Forest. Little Rock squares off with number 6 LSU. USC takes on number 8 Oregon State. Number 16 Southern Miss against Miami. Number 15 UCLA battles UC Irvine. Defending champion and top seed Vanderbilt, second seed Texas, both eliminated from regionals. The NBA Finals start this Thursday with the Thunder battling the Pacers, Game 1 in Oklahoma City. The Stanley Cup Finals start on Wednesday. Edmonton has home ice, taking on the defending champion Florida Panthers. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off. Select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Primer and Ceiling Paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13, delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive so you can stop worrying about them and invent new things to worry about, like snakes in your bedroom. Sure, that sounds incredibly irrational, but now that we've mentioned it, you are a little worried. The odds of one snake, let alone snakes plural, are so slim. But you might want to check. Oh, you're not near your bedroom. Guess you'll just have to sit there and worry about it. So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Springtime. When a young man's fancy turns to...
Get your mind out of the gutter.
For sports gaming strategies and information that gives you an unfair advantage, you'll find it all right here.
It's the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
I think in card in Major League Baseball, I got a handicap. There's a couple good spots here, so follow me at Rightside VP. I got some plays this afternoon. I will put them out, but nothing in the afternoon. First game up, Colorado-Miami, which I do think we get some runs in that game. I got a couple questions to ask you. Number one, do you follow college baseball at all?
No, I really don't. Yeah. I don't fake it. I know a lot of people this time of year are like, regionals.
It stinks.
It's like, come on.
It stinks. I follow Miami just from just having like sort of a rooting interest per se. I don't watch any Miami baseball, but I'm like, you know what? They're in the playoffs. Let me just check in from time to time. They're on TV the other night, so I put them on for a couple minutes. But outside of that, I really think it stinks. And I'm sorry. There's some people out there. Nobody loves baseball more than me. College baseball stinks. Like, I can't get involved in it. Like, okay, there's some stars and they hit some home runs and it's Omaha and I get all that. But if it never showed up on my TV, wouldn't care. Same thing with like lacrosse. Hey, man, did you catch that lacrosse? No, I didn't catch any lacrosse match. I care less about lacrosse. I don't care if it's doing well on TV or it's fun. Just not my cup of tea at this point. So I wanted to get that one out of the way. But also, if we are looking, where did I want to cross over? Okay. Like, growing up, right, gaming for me, Madden was always institutional, man. It really was. Like, going way back to the early 1990s. The fun part that the kids don't understand today, when I mean kids, anybody that plays video games, like Madden would come out like late in football season. Like routinely, Kevin, like you'd be like, okay, Christmas time, what do you want? I want John Madden football. I want Joe Montana football, whatever football was out. Like, that's when they came out, like for the holidays. And it was only like in recent advancement of like, I don't know, late 1990s where they were starting to put out like in September, like in the football season. And now we get it obviously before football season. But Saquon Barkley is on the cover of Madden this year. And I just remember like all those years, like the fun of you go into like a GameStop, you know, wherever Babbage's, wherever you're buying your game, Toys R Us, you bought it like a month out and you got that little ticket in your hand. And the day it was like supposed to be released, the fun of it being released at, hey, you got to come get it at 9 a.m. tomorrow, midnight. Like everybody did that. Everybody lined up at the stores out the wazoo. And it was just like, okay, let me get home and play till like 4 a.m. just to get a good feel for the game. I don't play video games anymore, which I kind of wish I did. I just don't have time. I would love to play Call of Duty and Battlefield and all that stuff. But Madden for you, like there's some people that are just lifers. Like every year get it, every year play it. Now you're much younger than I am because I was still doing that pretty much into my, I don't know, I want to say maybe mid-30s at that point, and then sort of like shut it down because I had too many other responsibilities. But is it still a big deal for you when Madden comes out?
So it's always noteworthy. I always like to see who's on the cover. My brothers play it more than I do. They're better at the game than I am, like, which is kind of a part of it. Like, I'm someone who's still never figured out how to control like the linebacker or safety. Like, I'm still on the D line.
Yeah.
Trying to put swim moves on the computer offensive lineman. Hurry up,
DBs
the
are getting
quarterback
cooked out there because you don't want to click on. You click on the DB, falls down, it's a touchdown. Never doing that again.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like me thinking I can roam around with the safety just to get picked on is not a good time. So, yeah, it's not the same. I remember, last year, one of the reasons that I like bought Madden is because it was a part of the bundle with the college football game. There was so much hype in the college football game, and it was like, all right, let's do that. So I usually like to have it. I think the thing with this year's Madden, though, is it's just very specific to being an Eagle fan. And I'll probably, if I buy it, I'm not buying it on the PlayStation. I want to go and get the disc and have the cover in the home.
Not download it. You want to go and buy it.
Yes, I don't want to download it. I want to buy the physical thing. Because that's, that play is, Donnie, this past Eagles season, right?
Yeah.
Like the 5 most famous plays.
Yes.
Where is that play rank? Is it the most famous? I would imagine it's the Super Bowl. But that leap, like, you think it's the number one play?
Yes. Because, like, if you ask me, like, Donnie, what is your most important play in the history of the Eagles? What would you think it would be for me? Like, what was your favorite play, Donnie? Wasn't Ertz's touchdown.
Okay. Graham and the strip sack?
Yes. Like, I have moments where, like, Brian Westbrook's my favorite player. And, like, just times that, like, in the moment, like, oh, what a play by him and all that stuff. But if you just said, like, singularly, like, for my career, because of what it meant in the moment, which is kind of odd because I'm telling you right now, like, what it meant in the moment really wasn't all that much. Okay, it was a 3rd down conversion against the Jaguars early in the season. But it just feels like if there is a cover for the Philadelphia Eagles season, like that would get it, like that moment. Like there were a couple, Devontae Smith had a great, I think in the same game that you went to, right? Was the toe touch in the back of the end zone, the one-handed? Yeah, like that was an unbelievable play, which really sticks out too. Yeah, unbelievable that he caught that. But just a microcosm of the season, which I think it was perfect for Madden, perfect in the moment. And yes, even though the Eagles won a Super Bowl, and that didn't really have anything to do with a huge Super Bowl play or a big play in the game because it was early in the game too, I still think that was the biggest moment of the season when people were like, what did your season encapsulate? Oh, you remember when Saquon jumped over somebody backwards?
Yeah, I think it's because Saquon was the player of the season, right?
Yes.
No matter any way you slice it. The Saquon running through the snow, smacking his helmet, the dagger, of course, to Devonta Smith, and the Cooper DeJean pick six are inside that top 5. But the Saquon backwards leap is the stuff of legends. It is, if you will, Michael Jordan with the hand switch layup. And listen, I hate that play. I find the whole thing to be ridiculous. It's one of the more basic, like you turn on any NBA game and you'll see 6 things more impressive. But that the 2 most replayed Michael plays is the Utah Jazz buzzer beater and the hand switch layup, right? So you talk about from the Eagles.
The shrug from the Portland series in the finals where he kept hitting 3-point shots. Like those are the 3 things I would say. Like snapshot, Jordan. Yes, correct.
Right. From this Eagles season, if you're like, hey, show me everything. Even if you go back to the entire NFL season, what was the craziest play of the NFL season? It was Saquon jumping backwards over a Jaguar. So, yeah, I mean, it's a special play.
The bigness in the moment, but he is going, which means I guess he's supposed to get injured this year. Hope not as an Eagles fan, but that supposedly is the curse. Is the curse done? It should be over. It feels like it's been a long time since it was at that point here. More questions coming up next, which includes a certain quarterback, man. Get it together.
We don't care what your high school girlfriend told you. You are a winner.
Or at least you will be if you keep it here.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
The Early Line.
You take a look at Tom Thibodeau. What did he say after the last game? It's very important for our guys to understand. The series isn't over, but you can't win it in game number 5. Game by game is how you have to take it. I agree. I think the Knicks win this game and at least force a game number 6. And if we get a game number 7, that would be fantastic. But tonight, I think it's a Knicks night.
It's The Early Line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. If you want to be an alpha,
you've got to get the winning edge.
It's kind of a necessary ingredient if you want to lead the pack. So mark your territory
with the winning edge.
You're in the big leagues. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
We're outside the realm, Kevin, of the NFL. Like, we're in that dead period now, the month of June, where guys are going to go on vacation, OTAs will wrap up, and then you won't see them again until like midway through or early parts of, let's just say, July. And then we get, obviously, preseason football, which is fun until we get to see preseason football. Then it's no longer fun, and you're waiting for the college football season and the NFL season to start. But the reason I bring it up is, like, I still find myself, like, mesmerized. Like, oh, that's right. Like, Devontae Adams is on the Rams this year. Like, there's changes out there. Like, oh, that's right, Debo's on Washington. I forgot about that. Or a certain player goes here, or free agent class, because you start to get that feeling like once you're on training camp, look at the rosters, see how it pairs out. All the beat writers are in tune at that point. But here's what I still can't figure out right now. And I know it goes back to the Pittsburgh Steelers again. I know, Kevin, Aaron Rodgers is going to be on that roster, because I don't care how much you care about Mike Tomlin or the general manager or the ownership group with the Rooneys. They weren't coming into the season going like, hey, we'd be fine if it turned out to be Mason Rudolph. Like, nobody operates like that way. You look at their quarterback depth chart, it's not going to be that way. But then leads me to the next. Is like, we're now in June. Did he have an agreement that's like, I don't want your playbook. I don't want to learn anything. I don't want to work out with you guys. I will see you day one of training camp. Like, when, or is he parachuting in? Is it one of those things where, like, he tells McAfee on a Wednesday he's going tomorrow to be a Pittsburgh Steeler? Like, what are we waiting for on Aaron Rodgers here as we now start to creep into the summer?
So I was listening to Albert Breer kind of illustrate that Rodgers, due to the things that got him heat for his time with the Jets, where he missed training camps and things like that, he didn't want to relive that. So the thought was, if I'm not signed, I can do whatever I want, right? Whatever trips and excursions he's interested in. And then when I show up, when I sign, I'll be locked in the whole way. I guess the idea in his mind is avoiding criticism for missing OTAs. In no planet, again, I just sometimes don't know who gives these guys advice, although maybe no one is actually giving him advice.
Nobody.
If Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign with this football team until July, we won't say, hey, man, he finally decided. Let's hope he, rooting him in, has time to get adjusted. This should be fun. No, they're going to be like, why didn't he sign back in March and April? We all knew he was going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler by the time it was mid-April. This is ridiculous. And somewhere he's convinced himself this is the way, because the people at Pittsburgh are still totally convinced he's going to be the quarterback of that team.
Yeah, 100% is. There's no, I was joking last week, Kevin, saying, well, if he doesn't, then okay, Mike Tomlin, you did this on purpose because you want to coach another NFL football team. You will be fired. And so will the general manager. The fans will be like, I don't understand. You told me it was Mason Rudolph. We just won 7 games with a roster that should make the playoffs, and we always win at least 10 games a season. How does this work out? But also, you're right about, if he was a Pittsburgh Steeler for 15 years, yeah, guy's old. Do you think he needs to learn the playbook? Do you think he needs to throw another pass to, I don't know, DK Metcalf, who's there 5 years with him at this point? But the fact that he knows nobody there, doesn't know the playbook, and I'm not saying they probably gave him the playbook and he probably is going over verbiage. I get that. But when you are like, all right, I got to ingratiate myself to this team. And also, we're talking about OTAs. We're not talking about hard labor. Hey, man, it's going to get a deployment to Afghanistan. It's going to take 6 months. No. 3 days? A Friday, Saturday, Sunday, throw the football in shorts and a T-shirt and then go on your vacation after that? It's just kind of odd because you're trying to build for something. And for a guy that's just I'm going to miss everything in the preseason. I'm just going to show up in training camp. We're going to mesh and have a good season. You are asking for, Kevin, by week 7 to be the laughing stock of football and everybody rooting that he just gets crushed in the pocket on a week-to-week basis. I'm saying he has a lot of fans out there. It's hey, I'm always going to root for him because Steeler fans will. And if he's playing good quarterback, we'll watch, we'll bet, and we'll be like, you know what? This is intriguing watching the Steelers play. But there's a part of me that's how does this actually work out in the Steelers' favor where they win 12 games next year, an AFC North title, and win 2 playoff games? Every day it diminishes. I don't know what he's doing. And you're right. Imagine if he goes, you know what? This is late March. Just signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I will not be at any OTAs. I'm going to learn the playbook. I met with DK Metcalf a couple times. I got some of the boys. They came out to my residence in Montana. We threw the football around, had some time. We barbecued. But I will not be at those practices. I need to save myself for the season. People are okay, there's the plan. He's with them. He's in contact. Everybody's on the same page, as opposed to, let me just be a shroud of secrecy everywhere. Why don't the Steelers just release, we actually signed the guy. So layoff was back. We'll be here sooner than later. Oh, okay. Thanks for the update. That's the way it is, man. Another Monday down right here on Moneyline. JP behind the wheels of steel, Donnie Rightside, and Kevin Walsh. See you tomorrow on a Tuesday. Later.
actionable insights, analysis, odds, and expert perspective on sports gaming.
If we do say so ourselves.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
In Oklahoma. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co. LLC. Used with permission.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
If you want to be an alpha,
you've got to get the winning edge.
It's kind of a necessary ingredient if you want to lead the pack. So mark your territory
with the winning edge.
You're in the big leagues. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
A new week starts right here, right now, live on Football Full Circle. That is FFC, all a part of the SportsGrid Radio Network and Sirius XM Channel 159. It feels like it's been a minute since it was Lisi Guy and myself here on Football Full Circle. That's the mastermind of the pigskin, Joe Lisi. I am Ben Stevens. An hour together here now in a new month. It is the month of June. It is our final month without NFL football for a long, long time until next March. Why do I say that? Because for the first time in NFL history, we have a preseason game in the month of July, late July, the Hall of Fame game. So, Lisi Guy, it's not even officially summer yet, and we're already getting closer and closer to football. Some NFL news and notes from over the weekend. And because this is the first time that Joe and I have been together in a couple of days, maybe even close to a week, we'll talk about all those changes that maybe you were hearing and reading about last week in college football, and all the conversations around strength of schedule and the updates to the college football playoff format, not just for this upcoming year in 2025, but 2026 and beyond. We'll explain everything you need to know today on Football Full Circle.
Yeah, and we talk about, OTAs and players that, miss camp, and players that are, just enjoying the party life. Shout out to Stephon Diggs and the New England Patriots, and what that means potentially for this coming season in terms of team success. But you're absolutely right, Ben. We get preseason football in late July. College football right now, the calm before the storm, and a lot of offseason storylines to really tackle. We even have the Madden cover come out with Saquon Barkley and the jump, which is, phenomenal when you just think about what that relates to in Madden rankings. And, we've seen players be upset. So this is it. We got about 1 or 2 months of good offseason talk, and then we dive right into the season. So nothing better for 2025.
Absolutely so, Joe. You took the words right out of my mouth on where we start. The big news at the NFL on this Monday morning: Saquon Barkley hurtling and leaping his way onto the Madden cover for Madden 2026. It will feature Saquon Barkley in the now famous no-look behind-the-back hurdle, or at least the backwards hurdle that we saw from Saquon in his debut season in Philadelphia. The Eagles star running back, one of 9 players now in NFL history to rush for more than 2,000 yards in a regular season. And with what he did in the Eagles Super Bowl and playoff run, the most rushing yards, regular and postseason combined, ever in a single NFL campaign, Saquon Barkley, the record setter, now on Madden 26.
Yeah, if there's one play that I think epitomized the Philadelphia Eagles season, it was Saquon Barkley, jumping over the Jacksonville Jaguar defender en route to that dominating first half lead that they held, right, over Jacksonville. They hang on in the fourth quarter, but they still won it. He was the main reason why Philadelphia ran away with a Super Bowl championship. You talk about his dominance, a 2,000-yard rusher, just, changed the whole complexity of that organization in one straight year, made them a legitimate contender that teams couldn't stop from a defensive perspective. And deserving, I think when we just think about, one player, Jalen Hurts wins the MVP for the Super Bowl, but you give them that in cover to the workhorse and Saquon that got it done from the start of the year to the end.
Yeah, absolutely so, Joe. And again, from the odds perspective, not just Saquon Barkley, but the Philadelphia Eagles expected to replicate that success starting in 2025. A little bit of movements around those Super Bowl 60 prices and the odds to win a Lombardi trophy. It's now the Ravens and the Eagles that are co-favorites currently at a 7-1 price. The Buffalo Bills just a $0.50 behind at plus 750 in Kansas City, backed by $1 from both the Flock and the Birds at an 8-1 number. But the favorites to win the NFC, Joe, that remains Philadelphia. And I know you are optimistic about where the Eagles can return to in 2025, expecting to see some sort of a dynastic run beginning in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, you just think about foundation, right? In order to win multiple Super Bowls, you need a dynamic quarterback, which the Eagles have, and maybe he's not as prolific from a passing perspective as Pat Mahomes and some of the others. But you talk and add in the dual threat that Jalen Hurts brings to the table, coupled with Saquon, coupled with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, that offense hums. But it's the defense, Ben. We keep talking about it. This defense is going to be together for the next 2 or potentially 3 seasons with the young talent that they have, not just in the front seven, but in the back end as well with Quinyon Mitchell and obviously Cooper DeJean. I mean, it doesn't get better than this. And when you saw Vic Fangio elevate that defense to the next level and beating up Kansas City, I mean, unless barring any major injuries, I keep saying it, they have a very good shot to repeat in back-to-back Super Bowls.
There's no doubt about it, Joe. And one of the first things the Eagles will try to do in bucking any bit of historic trend, that's win 2 consecutive NFC East divisional crowns. Since 2004, we have not seen a repeat divisional champion within the NFC East. The Eagles, of course, a favorite to do so, but could be a competitive division alongside the Commanders, who, of course, are trying to improve on the sensational and historic season for Jaden Daniels and his rookie campaign. And we expect the Dallas Cowboys to at least be better than they were a season ago, going 7-10. The win total for Dallas, 7.5. And the over has plenty of juice for the Cowboys, who, when Dak Prescott has been healthy throughout his 9-year NFL career, at least have seen regular season success. Again, the postseason, a very different conversation. Lisi, speaking of the Eagles, a big trade happening on Friday afternoon, I believe after FFC came to a close at 1 p.m. Eastern. That was Bryce Huff being dealt by Philadelphia to the San Francisco 49ers. Huff never really panned out as a part of the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, only made 6 starts last year in his lone season in the city of brotherly love. He signed a large free agency contract last offseason to head to the Birds, 3-year, $51 million deal after a career season with the New York Jets that saw Huff record 10 sacks, a career best in 2023. Didn't really pan out with the Eagles. Philadelphia trades him to San Francisco. The Niners reworking that defensive front, Joe, trying to get back to their level of success by the Bay.
Yeah, maybe a change of scenery will help Bryce Huff. You talk about the dollars and the risk reward never living up to expectations in Philadelphia. It's odd that they did ship him to another contender within the conference that they potentially have to go up against. But at the end of the day, it's to free up money long term and hopefully, change the chemistry and landscape of the locker room. You don't want a disgruntled player, especially one that hasn't lived up on the positive side and the productivity side in your locker room if he's not going to help long term. And if Vic Fangio feels that maybe they could get value out of free agents and potentially college players, that's what you want. So again, will it hurt The complexity and the productivity? Absolutely not. Could it benefit Bryce Huff and potentially San Francisco? Depth matters. We saw them wear down at the end of the regular season due to injury. So this could help them long term, but making them an immediate contender, I just don't see it.
We expect Philadelphia to be fine. They did lose Milton Williams, their big defensive tackle, this offseason after a career year, signing for a pretty penny elsewhere throughout NFL free agency. With what the Eagles have spent, it is hard to keep everybody, but it's part of the genius of Howie Roseman and how he is drafted, certainly on that defensive side of the ball, that you have the young guys like Jalen Carter, like Jordan Davis, like Nolan Smith being a factor there. And one of my favorite day 3 picks, Ty Robinson out of Nebraska. So Huff makes his way to San Francisco, where Joe, the 49ers defensive unit looks a lot different. Huff reunites with new DC, who was old DC for the 49ers, and Robert Saleh, who of course was Huff's head coach and largely involved in the defensive philosophy and personnel during Huff's career year in 2023, in which he recorded double-digit sacks. So Bryce Huff will be back there with Saleh in San Francisco in 2025. Plenty more to come on FFC up next.
4 out of 5 scientists agree it's smarter to be on SportsGrid. And we're pretty sure that one scientist is still a virgin.
He just gives that vibe.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. This update brought to you by Wendy's. The Trump administration is sending 3 cabinet members to Alaska as it pursues oil drilling in the pristine Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and reinvigorating a natural gas project that has languished for years. The visit by Department of Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, Energy Secretary Chris Wright, and Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin comes after Trump signed an executive order earlier this year aimed at boosting oil and gas drilling, mining, and logging in Alaska. Facing allegations of a conflict of interest, Orleans Parish District Attorney Jason Williams removed himself from a Louisiana Attorney General-led investigation into the massive jailbreak that saw 10 men escape a New Orleans jail earlier this month. Governor Jeff Landry ordered an investigation into the jailbreak several days after the inmates escaped May 16th. Williams had initially described the inquiry as a joint effort with the Attorney General Liz Murrill and toured the jail with her as part of the probe. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
When you partner with CDW, your people get more out of technology. CDW AI architects deliver Microsoft services to automate tasks and boost productivity, helping sales reps connect with more customers, remote teams collaborate seamlessly, and small businesses compete at scale. That's amazing. Make amazing happen. Microsoft and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/modernwork.
There's something you should know and always remember.
SportsGrid does not increase luck.
We're your unfair advantage for the latest sports gaming information. If you're looking for luck,
go find a horseshoe.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle. It is FFC. Right before the break, we discussed Bryce Huff being dealt right as the weekend started on Friday afternoon from the Eagles to the 49ers. Joe, San Francisco has a lot to rework this offseason to get back to the standard of success for the 49ers. Of course, prior to last year, in which they went 6-11 and significant injuries being a big story, the Niners had made it to the NFC Championship game 4 of 5 seasons, winning 2 NFC championships to play in a Super Bowl, coming up short in each of those attempts to hoist the Lombardi Trophy against the Kansas City Chiefs. We give the Dallas Cowboys a ton of flack because they have not won a Super Bowl since their most recent in 1995. They haven't even played in the NFC Championship game now in the 3 decades since. The San Francisco 49ers have reached an NFC Championship game, I believe, 8 times since their last Lombardi Trophy in 1994, and the Niners have even played in a Super Bowl 3 times since. But yet, Joe, the 49ers have not won a Super Bowl championship, now going on 30-plus NFL seasons. Again, there will be expectation and some optimism for the 49ers to have a successful season in 2025, but a lot has to change, of course, for San Francisco based on how the last season ended out.
Yeah, and they got their quarterback signed to a long-term deal, so they started there. But what does the offense look like? And I'm talking about outside of Brock Purdy. You know, when this offense was basically humming a couple of years ago when they challenged the Kansas City Chiefs, they were running the football effectively, and they started early in the year with that offensive line running the football effectively, but then they became inconsistent. And I think that's where we look to Christian McCaffrey. We look to the injury. Will he sustain and be able to be durable for not just 17 games, but obviously the postseason? Because if he's not, I don't think they're a long-term contender. And, you know, we look at this team, they lose Debo. What does Ayuk give you? George Kittle, again, has been banged up. There's multiple questions on the offensive side of the ball. And if it's one thing, if you look at, you know, San Fran's defense and say they're as dominant as Philadelphia, you know, top 5 unit, top 10 unit, they could carry you at least to 9 or 10 wins, and then the offense could figure it out. That isn't the case. We saw that defense get ripped. Detroit, right? I mean, ripped that defense at the end of the regular season. So this defense needs to step up. It starts with Bosa and everybody else. Warner comes back. We'll see if they can elevate. But right now, you know, from the betting perspective in June, saying, you know what, San Francisco, second best team in the NFC, I can't do that on paper, Ben.
And a lot of times, Joe, when you have looked at the 49ers the last few seasons, it has been that odds optimism for a team that was deserving of it, but entered last year as the NFC title favorites, and of course faltered on that expectation because of injuries. But even last offseason was a little bit more dire for San Francisco. It was very tumultuous. Brandon Ayuk in his contract holdout. Trent Williams in his contract holdout, trying to get a deal done for Nick Bosa. It wasn't necessarily the smoothest sailing. This offseason, there has clearly been a plan for GM John Lynch, and they have made those big signings already happen. Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and the like for San Francisco. They have traded away Deebo Samuel. You now hope Brandon Ayuk gets back and healthy after suffering a torn ACL. But, Joe, it's not like you're taking a 6-11 team from a season ago and just expecting them to get to 7 or 8 wins. This Niners team has a win total of 10.5, and the under has a slight bit of juice at -120. This 49ers team is tied for the 4th best price to win the NFC at a 10-1 number, and yet has the 3rd best price of NFC teams to win a Super Bowl. There is a lot of expectation for the Niners to return to form in 2025. I'm not necessarily buying in, but I think you start to see that reshuffling for the 49ers in deals like the acquisition of Bryce Huff. By the way, he's owed nearly $17 million in guaranteed money for this upcoming season. The Eagles are going to pay more than half of that, more than $9 million. So San Francisco does get him slightly on the cheap for at least this upcoming year. But, Joe, they have made some moves along that defensive line. For a defense that was one of the bright spots for this team when they were reaching NFC championship games as frequently as they were. But really, the only known commodity is Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is back, but they have traded away or released a few guys up front like Javon Hargrave, Malik Collins, Leonard Floyd, some of the anchors of that D-line the last few years in San Francisco.
Yeah, with Salah coming back to call the plays, I don't think they're going to be atrocious. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they might be, middle of the pack, 15th, 16th, which is good. But if you're talking about San Francisco to be elite and great and challenge the likes of the Philadelphia Eagles, they really have to crack the top 10. And knowing what they have from a defensive perspective right here, right now, I just don't see it. And the other factor as well is it's not one just player offensively. It's like, when Matt Stafford had the supposed elbow injury, you're like, well, if Matt Stafford is completely healthy, yeah, they could be a 10-win football team and they lived up to expectations. Well, if IU comes back, if Kittle's okay, and oh, by the way, if Christian McCaffrey, which it's not a tweak, it's not a groin, it's not an ankle, it's Achilles tendonitis in both legs. Yeah. So, we're talking about the potential for this season, if one injury happens, to just go completely off the rails, and then all of a sudden that plus 4 or 5 number to win an NFC championship all of a sudden becomes double digits, and you're like, why did I make that bet in the offseason knowing that you needed a clean ride? I'd rather make that bet after game 8 or 9 knowing that they're humming, because then at least you know that you could potentially project into the postseason.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to wait a little bit on San Francisco. I think some of that odds optimism can be deserved by the time we get into 2025. Not sure I love it at this exact moment. I misspoke earlier. The Niners tied for the 4th best price to win the NFC behind the Eagles, Lions, and Rams, along the likes of the Packers and the Commanders. I said they had the 3rd best number to win the championship Super Bowl title out of the NFC. They're behind the Packers, Commanders, Rams, Lions. So 6th best number, despite being tied for the 4th best price to win the NFC. We'll talk more in college football on FFC up next.
There's smart.
And there's not smart.
Not smart is hope as a strategy. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Keep it here.
And win. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1942 Red Sox star outfielder Ted Williams enlists as a U.S. Navy aviator. Williams lost close to 5 prime years to his major league career. Despite that, the splendid splinter hit 521 career home runs. Williams also had a .344 career average and drove in over 1,800 runs. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
A new MIT ping pong robot plays with power and uncanny accuracy.
Try and handle this.
High-speed cameras and predictive trajectory computer hardware control a multi-jointed lightning-fast robot arm attached to one end of the ping pong table, precisely executing loops, drives, or chops. Intended to be used as a ping pong training aid, the ultimate goal, improving the speed and agility of humanoid search and rescue robots.
But that's not going to save you from my no-look backhand smash.
Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
Their defense on this guy has been absolutely zero. They have not defended this guy once the entire effing series. I mean, honestly, I have never seen a guy with more room to do whatever he wants than this guy Halliburton. This guy has humiliated them.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the SportsGrid Radio Network. There comes a point when the chips are down.
To coin a phrase.
When the only thing you can do is stop and wait. Do you want to face that moment prepared?
Or rely on luck?
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle, it is FFC. Now, we were not here in large part last week, Joe nor myself on the show. We know that Scott Wetzel and George Kurtz were holding it down. However, I'm not sure there was a ton of college football playoff conversation here on FFC last week, and certainly when you have two college football guys in myself and Lisi Guy, we can try to explain it to the best of our ability. You might be thinking late May, now early June, why has there been so much college football playoff conversation? Why have I seen so many headlines on social media or on my favorite news publication about the CFP in 2025 and 2026? Why am I hearing so often from SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey and Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark? Well, at the end of May, you get the spring meetings for most of the power conferences around the country. And of course, last week in Destin, Florida, a lot of focus on SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey and what he had to say surrounding the future of the college football playoff. And a lot of that tied into how the SEC views itself in some conversations in the scope of the changing climate of college football. Lacey, let's start with some of the college football playoff conversations and considerations when it comes to all of this. Because, of course, we are now, even before 2025, in our second year of the 12-team format, already thinking what is next and already discussing what feels very likely starting in 2026, and that's a 16-team expanded college football playoff. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, again, can we get the 12 right? We got the seeding wrong last year. Can we have a couple of years where we tweak it and we fine-tune it and we play out the regular season and we see if it's worked and it's feasible for every conference, including the group of five? Can we do that first before we talk about bigger is better all the time? And I'm not just talking about expanded 16 teams or potentially 24. I'm talking about the notion that Sankey wants to break away from the NCAA and start their own. I mean, that would be like, and I hate to go off the rails, but, just quickly, the SEC running their own specific tournament is like basically like the what the NBA does in Vegas, where they have this tournament, which is meaningless. Like you want to compete against the best teams in the country. You want to contend and compete against the best. We know that the SEC has 16 great teams, but there's only about 6 of them that would ultimately compete for a national championship. So seeing a 16-team tournament does mean nothing if we're not going to see LSU, Alabama, Georgia go up against the likes of Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. I mean, what are we doing here? It's just for the buck. And this is killing college football, unfortunately, because it's going to make the regular season completely meaningless if we go down this path.
Now, everything that Joe and I are about to discuss is done for the almighty TV dollar. And that sucks, right? As a fan, you are not first thinking of how do I increase the bottom line of conference commissioners and athletic directors. You are thinking the glory and the pageantry that is college football and the unique nature of this sport, how each and every Saturday in the fall could be the most significant Saturday for that independent fan base or that individual school that we see in October, let alone what happens at the end of January in crowning a national champion. So Lacey is spot on there. A lot of what Greg Sankey said last week on behalf of the SEC as its figurehead, as its leader, and of course as a critical voice in the future of college sports, in the present of college sports for what it is worth, I think rubs people the wrong way because of this almighty belief the SEC is superior to everybody else. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But to what Lacey is referencing, in a quote that came out for Greg Sankey that he almost doubled down on, he said that in conversations in his room, whether that be with ADs, whether that be with other people within the SEC, within his league office, we're not entirely sure, but in conversations in his room, he is asked often, why are we even still involved with the NCAA? To say that as a conference is a very big deal, because although the FBS level of college football is not crowned by the NCAA, a national champion is not crowned by the NCAA, they are still, at least at this moment, the governing body of collegiate athletics. And for the SEC, although football is first and foremost, of course, they have member sports and basically everything else. So to say you are almost looking to secede from the NCAA, even floating that notion, is big, big wording. We'll talk about it more up next here on Football Full Circle.
The winning edge.
You've got it.
But not everybody has it, because not everybody listens to us.
But we're working on that.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. The NBA Finals start this Thursday with the Thunder battling the Pacers, Game 1 in Oklahoma City. The Stanley Cup Finals start on Wednesday. Edmonton has home ice, taking on the defending champion Florida Panthers. Women's College World Series today. Texas can advance with a win over Tennessee, while Texas Tech can eliminate defending champion Oklahoma. College baseball regional action. Elimination games on the schedule today. Number 5 North Carolina takes on Oklahoma. Number 10 Ole Miss against Murray State. Number 14 Tennessee battles Wake Forest. Little Rock squares off with number 6 LSU. USC takes on number 8 Oregon State. Number 16 Southern Miss against Miami. Number 15 UCLA battles UC Irvine. Defending champion and top seed Vanderbilt, second seed Texas, both eliminated from regionals. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
You're listening to SportsGrid.
Spreading the winning edge far and wide.
Terrestrial, internet, TV, satellite, and don't forget our mobile app.
Face it.
The winning edge is everywhere.
Somewhere there's a squirrel frustrated he can't get a phone.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
It feels like each and every summer, each and every offseason, Joe Lisi and I are here on Football Full Circle discussing the future of our favorite sport in college football and what it could potentially look like, not just next year, but the year following, and who knows what it could be in 2030, a couple of years down the line. A lot of this, of course, in terms of the spring meetings the SEC had this past week in Destin, Florida, and a lot of headlines that came out from it. We are discussing right now some rather vague comments, but you can't necessarily say vague, when Greg Sankey, who is the SEC commissioner, addresses the idea that he is hearing from voices within his league that what's the point of even being in the NCAA anymore. Now, it's interesting to hear that, Joe, from maybe the most powerful commissioner in college sports, if not matched there by Tony Petitti of the Big Ten, to question the NCAA's role. Now, in my estimation, the idea of amateurism and the facade that it has presented in college sports for some time, of course, is being torn down both legally in the courts and by our current climate where players are getting paid through NIL, and we are about to start revenue sharing for the first time in history, schools directly paying their players and their athletes. Of course, that is very different than the governing model the NCAA has had for the better part of the last century plus in collegiate athletics. So I understand what Greg Sankey is saying from that perspective. But to question the NCAA and its role, Joe, as that guiding and governing body of all sports, and this is not just football, which is an important distinction, of all sports, is a very big thing to be said by a conference commissioner of the SEC.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we're both in agreement thinking that the NCAA has done a terrible job over the past, you could make the argument, 20, 30 years in just getting ahead of just how they have dealt with the transfer portal, how they have dealt with NIL, how they have made certain decisions based off of schools and, universities penalizing one and then giving others a slap on the wrist. They have done a terrible job. So I understand why Greg Sankey made those comments. But if you're going to break away and be the only conference out of, multiple that now are fighting for a college football playoff berth. Now you're just going to rip down the whole thing. And what does that lead in terms of the regular season? What does that lead the group of 5 schools that have to look to the NCAA because there's nobody else that has their best interest in mind, right? So now we're going to rip the whole thing down potentially, and just benefit the SEC or the Power 4 or 5 conferences that come about, and we're going to forget about the smaller kids and the smaller schools and just push them out to being, relegated to almost like an FCS type of situation. They did it with Oregon State and Washington State, and there's no resolution. What does that mean for them?
Yeah, it's interesting, Joe. The NCAA has done a poor job of leadership, especially in the ever-evolving climate that has been college sports since NIL was put into practice on July 1st, 2021, that has caused these areas of chaos. And the NCAA has tried to go to the courts to uphold the nature of their system, only to be shot down time and again, and often decisively so. So I think it is fair to question the leadership of the NCAA. But it is also very different when you compare football to every other sport. FBS college football is the only sport where the NCAA as an institution does not crown a national champion. That is done by the FBS powers and, of course, now the college football playoff. Every other sport, that is through the NCAA. But when it comes to the idea the SEC could be a lone actor, that I think is what rubs people the wrong way. It is kind of this holier than thou, better than everybody else mentality, where the SEC believes that the strength of its member institutions and its conference is better than anybody else. So why would we compete against any others? And that's what Lisi hit on earlier. The idea of an SEC invitational for a college football playoff. And should they do this by themselves in the structure of what the CFP might look like in 2026? Again, that shall be discussed. It irritates me, Joe, because we already crown a champion of the most difficult league in the sport, the SEC. It is called winning an SEC championship. There is a conference championship game for that as of this moment. And now, Joe, we get the idea that the SEC is better than everybody else, maybe based on a proven track record of history, perhaps, when it comes to FBS college football, but not necessarily here as of late in a very different climate now in college sports that has featured realignment, an expanded college football playoff, and the legality to pay players all around the country, various levels of doing so, but that ability of what we have seen. The SEC has not played in a national championship game for the first time in back-to-back years since the late 70s. We have seen teams from the northern areas of the country, Michigan beating Washington, Ohio State beating Notre Dame in the last 2 college football playoff national title games. It is a different landscape and one that continues to evolve with a forward focus, not one that is necessarily baked into the idea of what 2005 used to be in college sports.
Yeah, and, I love college football, right? And it doesn't move the needle for me having an SEC tournament. I want to see matchups that we haven't seen before, especially in the college football playoff. So even though the game was a blowout, to watch SMU and Penn State, to watch those Indiana and Notre Dame, square off, Tennessee and Ohio State, that's what I want to watch in regards to the matchup. I don't want to watch Alabama and LSU for a third time, or a second time in the regular season just because these are the 2 best teams. I want to see them battle it out against matchups and teams looking to make a statement in other conferences. And that's what college football is all about. I mean, again, I understand why Sankey is saying that to a degree. And we've talked about super conferences and the SEC and Big Ten and them breaking away from the NCAA. If that's the ultimate goal, I get it. But still, just from the football perspective, you have to encompass all 135 FBS programs. Otherwise, it's not a true national champion.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Joe. And that's where we get to our next kind of conversation in the future landscape of college football and what the CFP is going to look like in 2026 and beyond, and all of the floated models of expansion that have been put to surface in the last few weeks. The 5 automatic bids and the 11 at-large berths, or the 4-4-2-2-1 model, 4 auto bids for both the Big Ten and the SEC, only 2 for the ACC and the Big 12, and the highest-ranked Group of 5 champion. Whether it is a reality or not, as a fan in any sport, but certainly college football, which used to highlight its regionality, not kind of turn its back to it, you want the idea of fairness. You want the idea of equal, of egalitarian type of ideal, Joe, where you have to earn the right to compete for championships, where you have to earn your spot in a postseason, in a playoff format, even if it is already by its very format heavily skewed to the big two of the Power Four. That's the Big Ten and the SEC. We want the very notion that what happens on a playing surface is far more important than what happens in a boardroom, for a committee, or within a league office filled of administrators. And when you start to chip away at the idea of equal and fair, Joe, that everybody, even if it's not realistic, has a shot to win a national championship and compete for that highest prize in the sport, that's where you start to lose the loyalty of the audience. We'll continue that conversation on the other side of the break. And again, we will share what some of these potential formats for the college football playoff, starting not just in 2025, but 2026 and beyond, could look like. We'll do it next on FFC.
We're not saying every SportsGrid listener is a legend, but you might start thinking about who's going to play you in the movie. Just saying. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. This update brought to you by Wendy's. The Trump administration is sending 3 cabinet members to Alaska as it pursues oil drilling in the pristine Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and reinvigorating a natural gas project that has languished for years. The visit by Department of Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, Energy Secretary Chris Wright, and Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin comes after Trump signed an executive order earlier this year aimed at boosting oil and gas drilling, mining, and logging in Alaska. Facing allegations of a conflict of interest, Orleans Parish District Attorney Jason Williams removed himself from a Louisiana Attorney General-led investigation into the massive jailbreak that saw 10 men escape a New Orleans jail earlier this month. Governor Jeff Landry ordered an investigation into the jailbreak several days after the inmates escaped May 16th. Williams had initially described the inquiry as a joint effort with the Attorney General Liz Murrill and toured the jail with her as part of the probe. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Wait. Skechers put the S in comfort?
Yes, comfort you have to feel to believe. Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Let me try. Okay, I'm just stepping in and... Oh, wow. Skechers put the S in comfort.
Duh. We told you.
Find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to handle the busy holiday season, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Remember when you were thankful you could just get AM and FM?
Things have progressed.
Now even an app on your phone can give you a 21st century thrill with that little drop of heaven called
the deposit notification.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle, it is FFC. So we continue our conversations around the updated models of what could be coming to the college football playoff. It is funny, Joe, that before even the 2024 college football season, before even our first year of expansion, the 12 teams, the largest field we have ever seen in the history of a sport that used to crown a national champion through magazine and newspaper writers, in the largest ever field capable of winning a national championship, we were already discussing potential further expansion in 2026 and beyond. And we have made some changes and fixes to the format for this upcoming year in 2025, and more are to come in 2026. Of course, we have already discussed the straight seeding model that is coming our way in 2025. 5 highest ranked conference champions earn that automatic berth, 7 at-large teams, but once those 12 teams are figured out in the field, they are just seeded 1 through 12 based on the CFP committee rankings, not any guaranteed opening round buys for the 4 highest ranked conference champs, as we saw in 2024. That's a good change that everybody seems to be behind. It's the conversation, Joe, of what more is to come with expansion to more than likely 16 schools in 2026 in the floated models of what that could look like. 5 plus 11 has started to gain some steam in the last week. That would be the 5 highest ranked conference champs, as we have now, earning an automatic bid in 11 at-large schools, making the field in the CFP in a straight seeded model. Pretty much exactly what we have this year, just 4 more spots for at-large teams. There was also, Joe, the idea of the Big 2 and the Power 4, the Big 10 and the SEC, guaranteeing itself more spots than anybody else in a college football playoff. That's the 4-4-2-2-1 model. 4 automatic bids for both the Big 10 and the SEC, 2 automatic bids for both the ACC and the Big 12, and the highest ranked group of 5 champion, as well as 3 at-large spots, of which you would think Notre Dame probably factors in as well. Lisi, of those 2, if we do see expansion to 16 schools, which format do you prefer?
I do not prefer the automatic bids for the conference SEC and Big Ten. That's absolutely ridiculous. The whole part of expanded playoff was to help and give the opportunity to schools that maybe group of 5 schools that wouldn't have the opportunity to compete because of, outside factors, strength of schedule, this, that, and everything else, right? And think about it as it relates to college basketball. There's 300 plus Division I college basketball programs. So I understand when you get down to team 65, 68, you're splitting hairs, and obviously you want this top 68 teams in terms of the tournament, but that's where maybe you have some argument. I am not here to protect the Ole Misses of the world where they had their opportunity last year and went to the swamp and Jackson Dart throws 2 interceptions and can't get the game done because they're an SEC school. And, oh, by the way, they beat Georgia in the regular season, so they're deserving of a top 12 spot, or in this case, top 16. That's absolutely mind-blowing to me. That is ridiculous. You talk about competition. We can't expand the playoff and then give the SEC and Big Ten automatic bids because then they're not going to try as hard. It's just the bottom line. Oh, we have a spot guaranteed. Why do we have to play our last regular season game, 100%? That's what's going to happen. It's terrible. It really is. I would rather give it to a team like Memphis that is on the outside looking in, or a team like Iowa State that is hungry to potentially win a championship, on a team or a conference that's knowing, hey, we have the best talent, so we deserve to be there before we play it out. That's asinine. That's ridiculous.
And that's part of the conversation, right? Is, again, the idea of having to earn your place. The idea of competing on the field to be worthy and deserving of that spot in a playoff to contend for a national championship. There is also the reality, Joe. In one of the reasons that the 5 plus 11 model seems to have some more legs now, because when the news of the 4-4-2-2-1 and the Big Ten and the SEC guaranteeing itself more automatic bids than any other conference, it rubbed people the wrong way, incorrectly so. But I think if you really start to read between the tea leaves, now the SEC seems to be a little bit more favor in the 5 plus 11, which the Big 12 is in favor of, as their conference commissioner, Brett Yormark, came out and said loud and clear a week ago. Because, Lacey, if we were to use the college football playoff final rankings following conference championship weekend of this past year, you know how many SEC schools would have been in that 16-team college football playoff? 6. They would have doubled their entry with the additions of Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. So I think there's probably some conversations within the Southeastern Conference right now. Screw the auto bids. The strength of our league is always going to get us at least 5 or 6 teams into the 16-team college football playoff. And if it's the idea of being a more equitable landscape, then it looks good on us as well. That is part of the conversation that we have reached here. Would the auto bids actually make the regular season more meaningful? That's an interesting component, Joe, where we have seen the conferences kind of slot out their conference championship weekends in a different form and facet, where you would have the 1 and 2 teams that finish first and second in your regular season standings earn that automatic bid, 2 of the 4 from the Big Ten and the SEC. And then you would see during conference championship weekend, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, where you would be competing down the stretch of a regular season to be in the top 6 of your conference standings, not just 1 versus 2 to have the opportunity to claim that automatic berth to the college football playoff. It's an interesting conversation. For me, I'm not in favor of expanding to 16 schools in general, as I think you feel the same way. But for me, I still prefer 5 plus 11, but there could be some conversation that 4-4-2-2-1 is actually weirdly more equitable.
Yeah, we'll see. Only time will tell, but, it seems like it's never the same week to week.
Yeah, we're about to be in our second year of the 12-team era, and the second might be the final. More NFL news next.
Luck is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the ticket.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
It's stark but true.
You can either listen to SportsGrid for strategies, odds, and more, or you can pay your bills by digging in your couch cushions for change.
Just be sure to wear gloves.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle. It is FFC. Lisi, guys, some big news in the National Football League that just hit the wire earlier on this Monday, basically as we started Football Full Circle. Lions All-Pro and Pro Bowl center Frank Ragnow, one of the game's absolute best at the center spot along the O-line, has informed the team he plans to retire. A stellar career comes to a close. That was the report from Ian Rappaport about 45 5 minutes ago. And then on his own personal social media accounts, Frank Ragnow announced that as well. Frank Ragnow has been the staple of this turnaround in Detroit along that offensive line, Joe, in what has become one of the best O-lines in the sport. He has spent all 7 seasons of his NFL career in Detroit. The last 3 years, he was a Pro Bowler. The last 2 in 2023 and 24, a second-team All-Pro selection. So the Detroit Lions in the game of football loses one of the greats currently in Frank Ragnow, who calls it a career, announcing his retirement after 7 years.
Yeah, I personally think it's going to be a blow, to this team when you have a veteran like Ragnow, all-pro, coming out of Arkansas, very run-heavy offense that he came out of, just a bulldozer when you think about his ability and physicality in the run game, right? That's what you want to see. And think about Detroit as a whole. What do they want to do? They wanted to run the football first with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs last year and potentially work off of the play action. Without Ragnow, without a new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, puts a lot of pressure on Dan Campbell to coach this team up. Now, we haven't seen much movement right now. I see plus 140 in terms of them still being the front runners for the NFC North. But when you just look at it from the conference perspective, Ben, that's going to, second best price at 5-1. I wouldn't be rolling the dice with Detroit right here, right now, knowing they need to fill that void, even though, potentially you could do it with other players. We're talking about continuity on the offensive line. That's very difficult to find, especially in the offseason. Might take a month or 2 before they get it right.
Yeah, it is really interesting, Joe, to think about the Detroit Lions and all the success we have seen the last 2 years that has been otherworldly and historic for the Lions, at least in recent memory. Of course, in 2023, winning the NFC North for the first time in 3 decades since 1993, or any divisional championship for what that is worth. Winning their first playoff game since 1991, reaching the NFC Championship for the first time since 1991, and now trying to play in a Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history. They were the number 1 overall seed in the NFC, but some injuries on the defensive side of the football kind of plagued the Lions throughout that postseason run that ended after only 1 game against the Washington Commanders. It's tough for somebody like Frank Ragnow, who is still under 30 years old. He is 29. He played 7 seasons in the NFL, dealt with some injuries throughout his career, but at least the last 3 NFL regular seasons has played at least 15 games. But in his statement, Joe, here's what Ragnow had to say. These past couple of months have been very trying, as I've come to the realization that my football journey is ending and I'm officially retiring from the NFL. I've tried to convince myself that I'm feeling good, but I'm not, and it's time to prioritize my health and my family's future. It's one of the tough parts of this physical game, especially for a guy that anchors the offensive line. But he has been a staple for Detroit. So there's a lot of moving parts this offseason for the Lions, who still have a ton, and I mean a ton of talent on that roster. But with the losses of both of their coordinators, Ben Johnson, head coach of the Chicago Bears, Aaron Glenn, new head coach of the New York Jets, and losing some key pieces like Frank Ragnow up front, they'll get a lot back too as well in terms of Aiden Hutchinson returning and Aleem McNeil back on the defensive side. There's a lot up in the air, it would seem, for Detroit this offseason.
Yeah, and I'm reading Lions Wire right now. They said Graham Glasgow to slide back to center. He played over at guard, so that could be an option for them. But that, again, just because you've played that position before, you're talking about consistency. You're talking about continuity when players, especially the center that's called for the audibles and just, talking about those type of reads and plays, that puts a lot of pressure on the unit as a whole, and we'll see if they can maintain that type of consistency without Ragnow. It's going to be tough, but if you're Dan Campbell, now is the time. You really have to coach outside the box this offseason to get them back to where they were.
Lions still the 5th best price to win a Super Bowl, 2nd best number to win the NFC, only behind the reigning champs in the Eagles. There should be some optimism. We'll see how the rest of the offseason plays out. He's Joe Lisi. I'm Ben Stevens. Football Full Circle returns tomorrow, noon Eastern time on SportsGrid Radio.
Now you've done it.
You found the advantage for gaming, odds, and more. But we call it the winning edge for short. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.